Hi guys.
Hey guys.
We're back with another CW review in which we'll review Arrow Season 4 Episode 2, Flash Season 2 Episode 2, and iZombie Season 2 Episode 2. If you're not totally caught up on those shows and you want to avoid any spoilers, you're going to want to skip this video and come back later because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. Starting with Arrow Season 4 Episode 2, titled The Candidate. Jerry Ryan!
Yes!
Oh my gosh! I had no idea. We've been kind of avoiding news about Arrow because we didn't want to get any spoilers, so we didn't know she had been cast. But no, she's been cast as Jessica Danforth, and she announces that she's going to run for mayor. And very predictably, she immediately, there's an attempt on her life.
Yes. And you kind of knew there was going to be an attempt on her life, and she'll, no, I'm going to stand and stay, and then her daughter's kidnapped and she backs out.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it always goes in like every show. But I liked this story for two reasons. One, because we got Jerry Ryan, so that was kind of awesome. And two, because like as they were talking about this, I kept thinking, I'm like, well, why doesn't Oliver run for mayor? Because it doesn't matter if there's a threat on his life because he can totally take care of himself.
Yeah.
So, like, it totally made sense for that. So, this storyline kind of almost was necessary for Oliver to get there.
Yeah, this whole episode was basically pushing Oliver toward that. It did a great job.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, the episode started totally action-packed, and what I thought was really cool was they're a very well-gelled, cohesive, coordinated team.
Yeah.
With the exception of Thea, and she's, like, stepping over the line. She's a little too brutal.
Yeah, she's, like, Oliver confronts her with it, and he's saying, like, there are takedown moves you can use, and that's not what you're choosing to use. You're using these moves that are designed to maim.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's not what we do, that's not what you do. And, you know, it just kind of keeps building and building until she almost kills somebody.
Yeah, she almost burns a guy alive. She sets him on fire.
Yeah.
And, like, man burning, I mean, for throughout history, is like one of the worst things you can possibly do. It's like an unforgivable curse. It is Avada Kedavra.
Yes.
It's like one of the baddest of the bad things you can possibly do. And she does. She sets this guy on fire.
Yeah.
And she has this kind of, oh my God moment, what did I do?
Yeah.
And the thing about Thea, though, throughout the entire series, is for most of it, she really hasn't been that likable of a character. And she still isn't.
Yeah, there's like this small time period, sometime after she got the club and started to become an adult and up until she died, that she was actually a semi-likable character. Mm-hmm. And like you wanted to like her. Yeah. But all the other times you just really don't care about her. And that's where she's at right now. Like, I just don't care that much about her character.
She's a hard character to root for.
Yeah, but she's an interesting character. Even though you don't really like her that much, her story is really interesting. Like, her and Laurel are now going to go back to that island, and they're going to take Sarah and try to bring her back. And
another bad
decision.
Gosh.
Laurel's like, I see what they did to you, and you're turning out terribly. Let's do this to my sister.
Who's even more dead than you were.
Yes. So, that's going to be really interesting because they're going to the League to help with Thea's problem, which is now run by Thea's father, who she doesn't want to see. So this will be a very, very interesting story.
But also, if anyone can help her, it's going to be Malcolm.
Yes, yeah.
And the other major storyline in this episode is Palmer Technologies is very close to going out of business. And Felicity is doing these layoffs. And although it's not a major part of this particular episode, I think it is pointing to something that's going to be very important. Because she's got like the research and development guy, and she's like, look, you've got an idea that could possibly change the world, right? And save the company. And he was like, maybe. And
she kind of hinges her whole plan on this maybe before she knows it's even a maybe.
Yeah, but I think whatever it is he's working on or whatever it is she's going to have him work on is clearly going to be extremely important later on.
Yes.
Right, I think that's it for our Arrow review. If there's anything you think we should have talked about from that episode that we didn't, something we missed, let us know in the comments and we can talk about it down there.
And now let's move on to The Flash.
Flash, Season 2, Episode 2, titled Flash of Two Worlds. And this was an amazing episode.
Yeah.
Now, I'm kind of caught up on Season 1. I still haven't caught up all the way. But I do know some things, like the Jay Garrick's helmet, that Flash's helmet, that made an appearance at the very end of last season. So that's been teased for a long time now. So the fact that he has made an appearance, that finally came to fruition, which is really, really cool. And they've introduced the multiverse. And I remarked in our last review that I kind of hope they do an ode to, maybe not Crisis of Infinite Earths, but just a nod to it. I really hope it goes that direction. Mm-hmm. So, Jay Garrick makes an appearance, and Barry immediately doesn't trust him.
Yes.
And you can kind of see why.
Yeah, he's been burned before. He had somebody who came in and was helping him and giving him, all this help, and then this person turned out to be the one who killed his mother. Yeah. So, of course he's going to have trust issues. He sees the same type of person come in and doing the exact same things, and he's having a very hard time trusting him.
So we get a new character in this episode, and I really like her. Her name is Officer Patty Spivot, and she gets to join the anti-meta-human strike force towards the end of the episode.
The whole episode she's trying to join it, and then she finally gets a yes at the end of the episode.
And she's clearly being introduced as a new love interest for Barry.
Yes, I agree.
He's kind of been interested in multiple of the female leads so far in the series. So I'm glad that he's getting a love interest who seems like she's going to be at least a somewhat steady love interest.
Yeah.
And there was a Monty Python reference. Speaking of Patty Spivot, her and Barry share a Monty Python moment, which was amazing.
I haven't even seen Monty Python, and I was like, that was totally a Monty Python reference. Like, you can't miss a Monty Python reference.
We're totally have to sit down one weekend and watch the Monty Python. Okay, moving on to Cisco's powers. Apparently his powers started manifesting last season, and now people are just starting to find out about it. And given that they gave Barry such a hard time about withholding the fact that he was feeling lightheaded and dizzy because he couldn't get enough calories. It was the very beginning of the series, and they're like, look, we're scientists. We need to know this information. The fact that Cisco has been withholding the fact that he has these kind of powers of foresight.
It's not even foresight, it's like aftersight.
Yeah.
Because he can only see things that have already happened. But it helps because, when the main villain, Sand Demon?
Yeah.
When he has he's captured somebody and... Patty. Yeah, he's captured Patty. And they've already had a conversation where they're at. And so, Cisco's able to repeat that conversation, so it's already happened. He's not predicting anything,
right. But
it helps him because he can send Barry where he needs to go. So it's definitely going to be a helpful power.
It's definitely hypocritical of Cisco because they really jumped on Barry's case when he withheld some information early on. And the fact that Cisco is now withholding this, it's very hypocritical. Although I can understand it.
Yeah.
Because the power came from Harrison Wells. And Cisco says everything Harrison Wells did was evil. So how can this power be good? And so I kind of understand his perspective. But at the same time, he's a scientist. So I would assume at some point he's going to put that aside.
Yeah, and not only that, as a scientist, if he's afraid that this power is bad, then he would want to get rid of it. And as a scientist, you need others to study it in order to figure out how to get rid of it or how to not make it bad.
Yeah.
So you would think that he would be reaching out to these other scientists who also happen to be his friends.
Yeah. Okay, in a very awesome moment development, I'm not real into Flash, the comics, so I don't know what all Flash's abilities are. But in the show, he gets an ability, basically it's Flash Lightning. And it's awesome.
Yeah, it's
basically,
cool.
He runs to the point where enough static electricity builds up into him, and he can throw it. And it's, oh my god, it was so cool.
Yeah, it was really, really cool.
Yeah. I hope we get to see him build up more, offshoots of his powers. Just like, who would have thought? Okay, static electricity. Of course you would be able to build that up and utilize that in some way. But it had just never occurred to me. This episode actually makes me want to read the Flash comics.
I really like this too because it's not a new power. It's still his power. It's just a new way to utilize it.
Yeah.
Even the J Flash, he was telling Barry, you're not reaching back and grabbing it. You run, you build it up, and then you slow down and let it overtake you, and then you're directing it. So like you're playing off of the power you already have, and I thought that was really interesting. It's not like he's just getting new powers.
Yeah.
He's using what he has in different ways.
We get a little more insight into Zoom in this episode as well. Zoom is apparently obsessed with being not only the fastest speedster in all universes, but the only speedster in all universes.
Yeah.
And I guess he is at least faster than Jay Garrick.
And you kind of get that impression too, because on screen he's kind of blurry and shaky.
Yeah.
And so it's like he's so fast he can't even stay still.
Yeah, he's so fast, even his cells just move a little bit.
Yeah. So that was
which is a really cool effect.
Yeah, that was a really, really cool effect. Because you just got this impression of speed even when he was kind of standing still.
Yeah. When he's stationary, he looks fast.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It was a cool effect, and I'm excited for Zoom. He seems genuinely frightening as a character.
He does seem a little scary.
Yeah. And he's sending people back to kill Barry, and now not only Barry, but Jay.
Yeah, and why is he sending people back? There's got to be a reason why
not really
he
back.
doesn't.
He's
Well,
sending,
yeah,
like,
sending them
across,
across. But
yeah.
why is he sending people to Earth 1 when he could just come himself and do it? Because he was here when he brought the Sand Demon. Like, he came with them and was like, okay, kill the Flash, and then he left. But, like, why doesn't he just go after him? There's got to be a reason, and I want to know what that reason is.
It does seem a little strange that he is using people who are less capable than himself to do this, because it seems like he should be able to handle it pretty easily if he's that much faster than the Flash.
But, when Jay came through, he lost his speedster ability. So maybe, maybe Zoom can only be in Earth 1 for so long before he loses his speedster ability, and so he has to send other people. So it's like he can't come there. So he's just going to remain the only speedster in Earth 2 and send other people to kill him because there can't be another one.
And we got a glimpse at Earth 2's version of Harrison Wells. Now, will he cross over and cause some mayhem into Earth 1, or will they have to go to Earth 2 to solve some problems?
Yeah,
I want to see some crossover in the action. Some, Earth 1 heroes going to Earth 2 and vice versa.
And, Earth 2 Wells could be a completely different Wells.
Yeah, he
might maybe he wasn't the one who murdered Barry's mother in Earth 2.
Yeah. Okay, and I think that's pretty much it for our Flash review. Finally, moving on to iZombie, Season 2, Episode 2, titled Zombie Bro.
I love iZombie because Liv eats a different brain every single week, and she is that person for that episode. And one, it just shows this amazing acting ability, and two, it's just hilarious to see the people around her they're like, dude, what is up with Liv?
Yeah. It's interesting because she's almost playing a different character every week.
Yeah.
So just that in itself is incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
But then the show is really fun. The story's actually gotten really good.
Yeah, it has gotten really, really good.
Okay, the big thing for me in this episode is Major is not dealing well at all with being a zombie hunter. He cannot handle killing people.
Yeah, no, he's not. Yeah. And what's crazy is he's pushing Liv away, and yet the reason why he's hunting the zombies is because if he doesn't, they're going to take Liv out first. So he's like doing this to protect her, but he wants nothing to do with her.
Right.
And it's just so much. He's just being pulled in so many directions. He can't deal.
So Major takes Utopium, and he's becoming addicted to it because it helps him escape the guilt. It takes away all your worries, all your stress, and it makes you live carefree for at least a few moments. And now he's locked in his bedroom at the end of the episode, snorting Utopium.
Yeah, so this is going to be really bad. I know,
Yeah.
Tainted Utopium is what caused the zombie outbreak to begin with.
Yeah.
So, what's going to happen here?
Is he going to re-zombie? Because he was a zombie but got cured, and now he's snorting Utopium. How is that going to interact?
Yeah.
Or is it even going to interact? And of course, the whole reason Major is introduced to the Utopium is because Ravi is doing experiments to try and recreate the cure.
Yeah, he's got this idea, like, he knows so very little about Utopium, so he figures, well, maybe if he experiences it and can kind of figure out what it does to the body, he can then use that information to further the cure, because they no longer have any more of the tainted batch of utopium that causes zombies.
I can't really tell, though, if he got any useful information, because Major ended up taking the utopium, and he was supposed to monitor Ravi and keep track of what all he did and his physical responses, his visual physical responses. So all Ravi actually has is the recordings of the things he said, and they're hysterical.
Yeah, I think he thought his scientific mind would still be there and he could do these recordings and listen to them later and get to understand what was going on in the moment, and instead he just completely went with the moment and didn't record basically anything of use. And I agree, I don't think it helped him at all.
And finally, Blaine. Blaine has some major daddy issues.
Yeah.
I almost felt bad for him in this episode, actually, because his dad just seems so cold and distant and very Lionel Luthor.
Yeah, like, they hate each other so much that the first thing Blaine did when he turned into a zombie was turn his dad.
Yeah.
So that his dad could have to deal with it too. Like,
yeah.
That's messed up. Like, beyond messed up. Blaine also has some sort of plan going, and
yeah.
we're not really privy to it, but he gets some high-end rich kids to sell utopium at some clubs, which then predictably gets the boss, who's like the head of all the drug trade
yeah.
in the city, to kill all of them.
And I think it's so Blaine can take over the... Blaine, at his core, he's a very greedy person.
Yeah.
So he has a pretty good thing going with supplying the brains for the zombies. I think he wants to take over the drug trade as well, and just as a matter of greed. Okay, and I think that's it for our iZombie review. And of course, if there's anything we missed, something we should have talked about that we didn't, let us know in the comments and we can discuss it down there. Alright, if you enjoyed this review, or these reviews, and we certainly hope you did, please let us know by clicking that like button and subscribe for more reviews.
And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.